So an old boy brought this Carlton in for me the other day. He wants a few little bits of work doing to it. He still actually uses it for racing time trials on, which I think is pretty cool. Although he says he's happy if he can get under 35 minutes for a 10 nowadays. But the fact that he still races it, I think is amazing. He has a couple of niggly little issues with it. One was to do with the arc of the mudguard. As you can see, it dips quite low where the tyre is here and the brake bridge, and it's quite far away at the bottom bridge and at the back of the mudguard. I mean, this can obviously be adjusted here, but this you're stuck with, and this you're stuck with. And then the other thing that he was bothered about was the fact that the brake that he's got on, he's got the brake pads right at the top of the stirrup, so there's no real adjustment, and they're really only just touching the rim in the right place. So, hi, I'm Paul Gibson, this is Ellis Briggs, and welcome to the Frame Shop. Now, one of the reasons why you do need a bit of a gap here where the bottom of the mudguard fits is because with horizontal dropouts you need to be able to move the wheel far enough back that you can drop the wheel out. So if you've ever wondered why they don't follow much closer to the wheel down there, that's why. So in order to cure both of these problems, what we're going to do is we're going to raise this brake bridge up a little bit, which will make the arc of the mudguard a lot better, and it'll also give him more adjustment on his brake pads. So let's get the frame stripped down and we can get it on the faceplate, remove the old bridge and fit the new one in. So the first thing I want to do now is get it on the faceplate and take some measurements of where the bridge is now and where we're going to move it to, because you really don't want to be just guessing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement from the centre of the axle down this end up to the hole where the brake mounts to, and what this measures at the moment is 375 millimeters. And then once we've got that measurement, we just need to take a look at the brake and see how much further down we would like the brake pads. So we're wanting the brake pads to sit in the centre of the slot really. So overall, that means that we're going to have to move the bridge down about 10 millimeters. So now we can take the old bridge out and we can mitre up a new one. Let's just find a brake bridge that we can use. And I'll probably just have to use one of these plain bridges and drill the hole in there, the 6mm hole. So now we'll get the frame mounted in the vise and we'll remove this rear brake bridge. So I made a little bit of a boo-boo here. I forgot to press record on the last little bit. So what I did was, to get one side detached from the stay, I put a couple of wood blocks between the seat stays and pushed it up until it would come away. So now I should be able to just lift this one off once I get up. And then now we've got them off, we can just get rid of some of the brass that's stuck on the seat stay now. So now we'll clean both of those up with some emery. Yeah, probably still need a little bit of filing on this one. So first of all, we need to take off a bit of excess from each end of the bridge. Obviously we want the hole to be in the centre, so we want to take the same amount off both sides. And then after that, we're going to do like a 5 degrees mitre on both sides, just using a big round file. So we're going to take a measurement to the centre of the seat stays along this line that we've already made. So I'm getting about 67mm there. And now I'll have a look at the length of the bridge itself. So we're getting about 13mm, give or take. So that means we want to take off about 6.5mm off each side. So that's like half of the 13 off both sides. And then that'll get rid of most of the excess. And then we can just do the mitres on each end at 5 degrees. So all we need to do now is mark this up. And then if we take our calipers, we'll just zero those again. So we'll take it to 6.5 or there or thereabouts. There we go. Just tighten it up. And then we can just use this to make a mark on here. Don't know whether you can just see that mark I put on there, just a faint line. So I'll do one of those on both sides, and then we'll cut them both off, and then we can start the mitre. So first of all, let's trim this bridge down. And then after that, we want to put a 5 degrees mitre on it. So we're going to turn it this way around. Now you just got to want to make sure that the bolt hole is in the right place. We're going to be filing the mitre this way, so the bolt hole wants to be going in this direction. And we want to do about 5 degrees. So before we do anything else, we'll give this a try in the frame and see where it fits like. So take this over and we'll fit it between the seat stays. Let's have a look. So yeah, the mitre looks to fit really nice. Obviously we've got to take a little bit off yet in order to get it to fit in the right place, because it's still a little bit low. It takes a bit of practice obviously to get familiar with the kind of angles that you need to file, but sometimes it is quicker. Sometimes it is quicker to just file something than it is to set up a machine and do things. So yeah, so anyway, we'll trim this down on both sides now and see if we can get it to move a bit further. So we'll just keep the same angle and take a few more strokes off both sides. The bridge is in place now, and I'm using this square just to check that it is straight in relation to the rest of the frame. So yeah, that's good. So mitres are good. We just need to put a little bit of flux on now. So when you're using brass flux, you don't need a lot of flux, it's just a little bit to cover the area where you're going to be brazing. And getting the mitre nice will stop you from having to have a big fillet as well. You don't have to fill any gaps or anything. So just want a little bit on the tubes as well. Don't want too much, because all we'll have to do is clean it off afterwards. And brass flux takes a bit more getting off than the silver flux that we use for a lot of the rest of the brazing. So now we just want to get it straight again. There we go, that looks good to me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little tack in this bottom corner here, and that's going to pull it this way so that it'll get tighter and it won't move. And then same again at the top, we'll put a little tack. Better to do it that way than doing it on the other side, and then it'll just pull it wonky. When brass brazing, you want to get both parts, both the seat stay and the bridge, up to the same temperature at the same time. So we're looking for them to get to the same red colour, and then we can add some filler. So that's the bottom one done, and now we'll do the same again at the top. If you kept your mitre nice and tight, it should be easy enough to keep it nice and neat without leaving you a lot to file afterwards. There we go, I'm just flowing it around the joint so I get a nice fillet all the way around. And then we'll turn the frame the other way up and do the other side. So there we go, all finished. The mudguard follows the wheel nicely now, which is just what we wanted. And if we move in and have a look at the brake, we can see that the pad's in a much better position now. It is still a little bit lower than I wanted, but that's because the wheel's slightly out of dish. So I'm going to dish that wheel over and it should be just where we want it. And yeah, everything's brazed in, all fitted up and ready to go.